Hello friends, welcome back to Cosmopolitan Cornbread. So I am out here in my greenhouse and I'm going to be starting some seeds today. I did start a few seeds yesterday. They're over there on my tray. You can see right there. Those were just some of my herbs that I just spent a couple of minutes starting. And today I'm going to start some tomatoes. I'm going to kind of sort through all of my seeds as well. I have lots and lots of seeds. This box here is not all of my seeds. I have this old antique, vintage, whatever, filing cabinet of sorts that I found at an antique store. And the best guess is that it is a filing cabinet for signature cards from a bank, because you could tell it's heavy duty, super secure, and it only holds small, basically card size objects. And so I purchased it, got a really good deal on it, and I use it as my seed organization. But when we moved here to Arkansas, I took all the seeds out of it, I packed them all up, and I have like multiple bags. I have a number so I would know which goes in which drawer, just to make it easy to resort and put everything back. But when I boxed them all up, I just stuck the box under my bed and I just never got around to putting the seeds all back. So that is one of the things that I'm going to do today, is put all of my seeds back in my seed vault of sorts. But today I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to start my tomato seeds. And in the past I have used my soil blocker to start seeds, and I have done that for years, and I love using my soil blocker tool. But this year I decided just to do something a little bit different. I am using my little seed starter pots here. I got these from Bootstrap Farmer, and these are reusable pots. They're a good quality plastic. It's not super flimsy like the stuff you buy at the store. Same with the starter trays. I have the solid trays. I've also got ones with the drainage holes, so that if I decide at some point to do the water from the bottom method, with the, I don't remember what it's called. It's a type of felt that absorbs the water and just allows you to water from the bottom easily. I'm not going to do that this year. I do have all the stuff to do it, but I'm just going to do it this way this year. So I've got my little pots, and because the vast majority of my seeds are not brand new, because it's been a couple years since I've started seeds, I'm going to do kind of like the multi-sowing method, where I take multiple seeds, start them in the one pot, and then once they germinate and I have little seedlings, then I very carefully transplant them to their own growing spot. And I have these starter trays, you can see here. Hopefully you can see that and it's not too dark. I have multiple different colors. These are brand new. I just got these the other day. Let me pull up a brighter color, maybe you can see the cells a little bit better. There you go. These are also from Bootstrap Farmer, and I love that there's a little bit of a space in between all of them, and you've got the opening on the bottom where you can just easily push the soil spike basically out to plant your seedlings. So these are new to me as well. These little pots and trays, I actually ordered them a few years ago, well, right after I did my last garden, but you know, I took a year off, my 7th year off, and then the year we were moving, of course, I didn't start any seeds. I did plant a little garden for the people who bought our Alabama homestead, but I just bought starter plants from a local farmer's market or farm store in Cullman, Alabama. It's called Chambers. They have an amazing variety, stuff that I've never seen in any other nursery or anything like that. So, this is my first time starting seeds in a couple of years. And the last time I started seeds, I had 2 huge gardens. I had my raised bed garden out in front of the house, and I had my great big no-till garden off to the side. And my in-ground garden, my no-till garden beds alone were about 1,000 square feet of growing space. And right now, all I have is the first of the 4 raised beds that I have built, and each one of those is only about 40 square feet. Now, I do have some other built-in raised beds here, and I've got some stone ones that were built by the original owner of our cabin here, and I am definitely going to be utilizing those. My big long bed is going to become my herb garden. We do have that protected with some fencing from the chickens, because the chickens free roam and I don't want them getting in there and destroying my beds. And then I've got some others on the other side. One of those I have started planting some mints in. I'll also plant some flowers in my herb beds, but I'm having to really figure out what I want to plant in this little garden. It's been a long time since I've had such a small garden, to be quite honest. I do know that I want tomatoes, and I do know that I want peppers, but peppers really like heat. And so I have found in the past that when I start the peppers a little bit later, they tend to produce much quicker because they have the heat. And so I've gone through all of my tomatoes, and I have 4 different varieties that I want to start. And only one of these is one that I've done before. And that would be the Bella Rosa tomato. Now, this is a determinate tomato, which means it's going to produce all of its tomatoes at the same time. And they will all ripen at basically the same time. And so I'm going to plant a few of these. And then this is one of my new ones. It is called the Opalka tomato, and it is a paste tomato. You can see there. So I'm going to plant a few of those. Then this is definitely a new one, and I'm hoping I get some tomatoes from this. This is a variegated tomato, which means the leaves themselves have splashes of white through them. And the name of this is actually called Splash of Cream Tomato. And so this one, is this a determinate or indeterminate? So this is an indeterminate variety, which means it will continue to produce tomatoes throughout the season. Once those first tomatoes come, they'll just keep on coming, and the plant will continue growing all throughout the summer. And then this is another new one, just kind of a little bit different. I love having varieties of colors in my garden when it comes to the tomatoes. Now, usually I grow Dr. Weiss or Dr. Witchy tomatoes, the big slicers. But, you know, I'm just wanting to try out some of these different tomatoes this year and just see what I think of them. This is a deep, dark tomato, and it's called Midnight Roma. You can see there. I got these from Row 7 Seeds. These were Row 7 Seeds. The variegated ones are from Victory Seeds. The Opalkas are from the Seed Saver Exchange, and the Bella Rosas are from Hoss Tools. And these ones are considered semi-determinate, which I've never grown semi-determinate ones, so we'll just have to see what they consider semi. Alright, so those are the tomato seeds I'm going to start. Now, I am dying to grow flowers. I love sunflowers, I love zinnias, and I love cosmos. And I pulled out a whole bunch of them. And I do want to start some. but I'm going to have to show extreme restraint and not plant like all the flowers, because the whole purpose of the garden really is to grow the food, right? I'm actually considering planting or creating a couple of long beds with some rocks and just filling them up with a little bit of soil, and putting those around the garden and planting flowers in there. So I am going to go ahead and start some zinnias. And sunflowers aren't always great for transplanting, so I'm going to hold off on the sunflowers. I'm not positive which ones I want to grow, but I do know I want, for certain, some chocolate cherries. I love these deep burgundy sunflowers. I also want to grow some of the Mongolian giants. You've seen these in my garden before. But then I've got these cute little ones called short stuff sunflowers. Big heads, big leaves, short little sunflowers. I've got the lemon queen, which are a multi-head sunflower. So you get kind of more bang for your buck with these. And then I have some of the autumn, and then the Velvet Queen sunflowers. I forget, Velvet Queen. Wait a minute, Velvet Queen, Lemon Queen. I think these are an orange sunflower. I don't recall. I bought these seeds from the farmer's co-op, and they come in these bags, so I believe these were multicolored sunflowers, but we'll see. The zinnias, so I kind of pared it down to just a couple of varieties of zinnias that I wanted to do in my limited space. These scabiosa, very interesting looking zinnias, and then some of my absolute favorites, the Queen Lime Orange zinnias. I love these things. So I'm going to start the zinnias, along with my tomatoes. And then I think I'll go ahead and start a couple of cosmos. And here's where the struggle comes in once again, because it's like, which ones do I start? Because, I mean, I can just kind of randomly plant flowers around the property, too. You know, I mean, they don't have to go in the garden. So, I've got 4 varieties that I had whittled them down to. I have these candy stripe cosmos. They're kind of a white cosmo with pink edges on the petals. These Rubenza cosmos, kind of a deep burgundy. These Fizzy Rose Picote cosmos. And then I did have some of these in the past, and I loved them. The Apricot Lemonade cosmos. So I'm going to go ahead and start these. And I think I'll also start some calendula today to get some of that going. I've also got tons and tons of, you know, medicinal herbs and all of these things that I want to eventually get established here on the property. But it's like, my space is limited so far. And, you know, it'll be like I did in the past, where every year I add more and more to the garden. And so, you know, Lord willing, that's what's going to happen here. Another reason for doing my seed starting this way, and I mentioned it in my live video the other day, is because most of these seeds are not new. I bought them several years ago, and because I don't know what the germination rate will be, this will allow me to not have a whole bunch of seed cells like this started with nothing in them, just in case I don't get great germination. So I'm just kind of doing this. I'm just taking the end of my scissors, and I'm just gently pushing the seed into the soil a little bit. Just a little bit, not too far. Enough so that I can get moisture and all that. Alright, there's one. And of course, if you want to do something like this on a budget, red Solo cups are phenomenal seed starting cups. Great little pots. I've used them many, many times. Just take a stack of them, take a drill a hole through the bottom of a bunch all at once so that you have some drainage, and then use them to start your seeds. Alright, we got the Romas. Alright, now we're going to do a splash of cream. Alright, I've got my tomatoes started, and I did the Scabiosa zinnias. Next is the Queen Lime zinnias. My battery died, so you didn't get to see me doing the first thing of zinnias. I did also want to mention that in addition to my garden beds that I have built so far this spring, I also have grow stalks, the green stalk grow towers. I have 3 of them. In the past, I had one on my front porch at the homestead in Alabama. I bought 2 more of them when they went on sale one year. It might have been the year I was vacationing from gardening. And so I also have those for growing space. And so, you know, those can also have flowers in them. They could have herbs in them. I will very likely plant green beans in at least one of them, because I do have some green bean varieties that are bush varieties of green beans, and so those can grow very well in the green stalks, and so that's probably what I'll use one of them for. You know, when you don't have a lot of space, growing vertically is very beneficial. You can grow a lot more if you go up, if you can't go out. Oh, and I did add another small bed out there in the garden, just using some natural materials. Now, I don't expect to have problems, too many problems, with germination with these seeds, even though they're a couple of years old. A lot of times, if you have good quality seeds and they didn't have an issue with germination to begin with, you're likely not going to have too many troubles, which is why I'm not doing a ton of extra seeds. You do lose germination over time, like the percentage, the success rate. But for instance, these calendula seeds, they were planted in 2021, or they were packaged in 2021, I should say. And so while I may not have as high of a germination rate as I did originally, I should still have calendula growing. And so just because your seeds are old doesn't mean you're not going to get anything. You don't have to buy all new seeds every single year. That's not necessary. But I have to tell you, calendula seeds, I don't know if you're going to be able to see these. They are so weird looking. To me, they look like dried up millipedes. They look like little bugs. Kind of creepy looking, to be honest. I do think that the challenge for me with my green stalks this year, though, is going to be simply deciding where I want to put them. They do need to have a level location, and there's not much that's very level here on the homestead. But I'm actually kind of thinking that right here next to the greenhouse might be the perfect spot for them, because it is perfectly level, it has great sun, and because the green stalks, oh, it helps if I put some soil in first, huh? Because the green stalks, I do get the basically the Lazy Susans for them so that they can turn around. You know, I'll be able to rotate them and give the plants light. And so I don't have to worry too much about it being right up against a structure. That's how it was on my front porch there in Alabama. I just rotated the green stalk, and you know, every day I just kind of rotated it, and everything got sun and everything grew very well. Now the first year I kind of struggled with it. It was getting full sun out there in our Alabama garden, and I really had problems trying to keep it watered. I will say that watering it from the top, the way it's designed to be, with the top tray, you fill that up with water and you let it trickle down through there, it wasn't watering my green stalk enough. And I attribute that to, I lived in Alabama. It was crazy hot in the summertime, and the green stalk was in 100% full sun all day long with zero shade at all. And so I attribute that as to being why I had problems keeping my planter watered. It just didn't seem like I could keep up with it, which is why I then started putting it on my front porch, where it still was technically full sun, because it would be fully exposed to the sun for at least 6 hours a day, but it wasn't full sun all the time. It got a break from it. And between moving the location and then also watering it around, watering like each little pocket instead of from the top, it worked a lot better for me, and I had great success growing things in there. And so that is what I plan on doing. Now the other thing that I'm going to do here, and I have to figure out where I stuck it, is I like to sprinkle the tops of all of my starter pots or soil blocks or cells, whatever I'm starting seeds in. I like to sprinkle it with Ceylon cinnamon, because Ceylon cinnamon has natural antifungal properties, and I have found that doing that reduces the odds of dealing with fungus gnats, because it reduces the odds of you having fungus in that damp soil in your seed starter pots or trays. And so I do have a bottle of it somewhere. I usually keep it with my seed supplies. I think it is in my box that all of these seeds were in, because I actually kept it with my seeds. And so I need to go look in the box where all of these seeds were and see if it's in there. If not, I have an Asia Standard order coming next week, and I have 1 day left to make some orders. So I'm pretty sure they carry Ceylon cinnamon, and if I can't find that bottle, I'll just throw another bottle in my order real quick. Now, regular Saigon cinnamon may work. I do know it's the cinnamon, but I don't know if it has the same properties that the Ceylon cinnamon does. I've just always used the Ceylon cinnamon because I understand it works very well. So I've not tried Saigon cinnamon, so I can't tell you either way if that one would work. It's worth a try. I mean, if you've got lots of cinnamon in your house, it's worth a try to see if it'll help. It certainly isn't going to hurt anything. Now, this method of starting the multi-seed pots is really not something I've ever tried before, but in the past, when I've started my seeds in my soil blocks, a lot of times I would have more than one seed in there and I would have to separate them out, and it's basically the same process. You just very gently tease apart the roots and put them in their own spot. And so this is just kind of basically the same thing, just on a larger scale. So my seeds are started. They're set up in the trays. I do have them on my seed warmer pad just to keep them nice and warm, because we are still getting really cold here at night. And I want to make sure that these seeds are... Hello friends, so it is now the end of the day and I am just cooking myself up some dinner. I'm doing a Italian burger bowl, maybe a pizza bowl we could call it. I'm cooking up some ground beef with just some garlic, onion. I'm going to add in some Italian seasoning, and then I will serve this in a bowl with a little bit of pizza sauce. Sugar-free pizza sauce and some mozzarella cheese and Parmesan sprinkled over the top, and that'll be dinner tonight. Before I wrap this up, I did want to share with you what I had mentioned about the event that I was at over the weekend. I had a lot of questions on social media asking me what this was, and it was called Refuge Ruckus. It was in Fort Smith, Arkansas. And it was a fundraiser for Caleb House. Caleb House, Caleb spelled with a K, is a charity that helps with the recovery and restoration of trafficked children. And so this was a really good cause. It was a little bit of a prepper convention, you might say, but there was a lot of faith involved.
Father, we love you. Thank you so much for this opportunity. Father, I pray that you be indwelt in these rooms today, that your spirit would flow throughout these rooms, and you pour out your spirit on all flesh, Father. Father, thank you for creating this opportunity for all of us to come together. And I pray that you use our hands and our feet to be a blessing, and you give us your words, that we would be able to minister to one another and steward one another. Father, that this would be a place of joy, that there will be relationships built in these rooms today, Father, and you would just speak to us in ways we can understand. I pray that you keep us safe, Father, that no weapon formed against us shall prosper. Father, if there is anything within the sound of my voice that is not of you, we come together in agreement, rebuke in the name of Yeshua HaMashiach, and command it to flee. Father, thank you for all these people. Thank you for this beautiful day. Thank you for the gift of life by the blood of your Son. We love you and we praise you in Yeshua's name. Amen. Amen.
There ended up being over 40 baptisms, and the baptismal being brought, big old water troughs, was kind of an afterthought. Maybe somebody might want to get baptized. There was over 40. That was great. It was absolutely beautiful. And, there was a ton of connections being made. I saw lots of people trading phone numbers and just getting to know each other. And I was one of the speakers. Of course, I talked about faith and homesteading and how they kind of go together. So with that, I'm going to finish cooking my dinner and call it a night. Thanks for spending some time with me here today. Lord willing, I'll talk to you all next time.